Alright, Playboys, we back. We got a builds video today for the brand new Tempest Trial hero, who is Alcryst from the Bride banner. So, we're going to take a look at his stats, we're going to do a little comparison between him and all of the other bow infantry units that have released lately, free to play. There are quite a lot of them, so it's a very oversaturated pool. But I do think Alcryst has enough in his toolbox to actually shine through some of them. Although, in the long haul, I don't think he's bringing enough to the table to warrant building. So if you were on the fence about whether or not you wanted to invest in him, that's going to be whether or not you like him as a character or you don't, because as far as the meta is concerned, he's not really breaking any molds. So we go ahead and take a look at his stat line here. He's got 40 HP, he's got 44 attack, 46 speed, 35 defense, and 23 res. So his attack and speed combo is actually the best right now amongst all of the infantry archers, at least the free-to-play ones, and he does have a super boon on speed, which can help him out in winning speed checks. So his stat line is okay, there's nothing wrong with it. And we go ahead and take a look at his base kit here. He's got the Harp Bow, which is a new inheritable bow. It's effective against flying, of course. If you initiate combat or if the enemy has a ranged weapon, you're getting all stats of 4. You're doing 15% bonus damage based on your speed, and you're also reducing damage from the enemy's first attack by X%, where X is 60 if it's the first combat initiated by you or the foe, and it's 30 otherwise. So it's basically just guard bearing tacked onto a bow for the most part, and the first attack will also include brave hits. So it gives you a little bit of protection there. It's not too shabby of a bow, but I do feel like some of the other bows that we have are going to be able to play up to Alcryst's strengths a little bit more. And then for his passives, he comes with drawback. He's got bonus doubler 3 and attack and speedo 3. We'll definitely take these passives. I mean, another copy of attack and speedo 3 is good. While we do have access to it on previous Grand Hero Battle units, the level 4 of this is pretty solid. So having more prerequisite fodder is pretty good. And then, of course, bonus doubler 4 is pretty solid as well. Although I do think close bonus doubler and distant bonus doubler have outshined bonus doubler 4. The prerequisite for bonus doubler 4 and bonus doubler distant and close are actually different. Those use distant counter and close counter, while bonus doubler 4 uses bonus doubler 3. So this can come in handy in certain situations, and it's also not that bad of a tier 3 skill as well. So there we go there. Gonna help out our budget builds. Now let's go ahead and do the stat comparison between him and his contemporaries. So if we'll notice, Alcryst has the highest speed, and he does have the super boon on speed. So we'll just go ahead and show that. I'm not going to go too in-depth with all of the stat comparisons between everybody, because we have 4 units here. 4 infantry Grand Hero Battle units that all released within the same time period for the most part. And what really kills Alcryst, I think, is that they made him a red bow again. So he color shares with Cyril and Castor. If they really wanted to be nice, they would have made this guy blue or green, I think. Because at least then he would have had color variety, and he would have at least brought something else to the table outside of just being another token free-to-play red bow. Okay, so Cyril actually has a super boon on defense, which is the only one out of this group. Castor has his super boon on attack, and then the Spring Linhardt has his super boon on res. So all 4 of the main stats have been covered by these 4 bow units in terms of their super boons, which is pretty interesting. They all have one different trait that they specialize in. So Alcryst would be speed. Cyril is not necessarily defense, although with his weapon granting all stats of 10, and I think it also does some other things as well. It nullifies his penalties too. He's trying to be like an all-rounder with some decent bulk to work with. Castor is just trying to caveman the enemies to death with Unga Bunga stats in terms of attack. And then Linhardt is trying to disrupt the enemies with his high res, so he can run Gold Border Ploy skills and still water. What was it? Crystalline Water, the new one? That's the tier 5 still water, basically. And he's just trying to do stat drops on the enemies and help your other guys do a lot better by res debuffing and things like that. So, whichever one of these playstyles suits yours the best, I would say go for that. But if we go ahead and take a look at the scoring now. So, Linhardt scores the exact same as this Alcryst. He lacks a perf weapon, and he's got the same exact BST as Linhardt. So, we're using Linhardt as our proxy here. You'll notice that Cyril still just scores the highest because he has the trainee BST. Also, not Linus. I don't know why I pulled up Linus. I meant to pull up Lloyd, actually. Although, interestingly enough, Linus does score in the same bin as Cyril there, but Fallen Linus or Fallen Lloyd actually scores a little bit higher because he has access to the distant counter seal. So that helps him outscore Cyril and also by extension the brand new Alcryst that we're about to get. And then you can't really score much higher than these armored units. So Vigard, both of the Vigards. There's also the Kellum unit. There's also, what's his name again? The axe dude that had built-in distant counter on his weapon. I think it was Ludwig, I believe is who it was. But yeah, all of these armored 200 BST units, they don't most of them don't have perf weapons besides Ludwig, so they all pretty much score the same. And then a paltry 758 for Alcryst, which is unfortunate. Okay, so now let's go ahead and take a look at the builds for this guy. So this is our first build. It's going to play up his strength of just being really fast. So Arcane Darkbow gives us the Auto Desperation, the -1 special trigger, gives us all stats of 5, and then it also gives us, I think it gave us one other effect, right? Did I name all the effects already? Desperation, all stats, -1 special trigger, and nullify penalties, if I didn't mention that already. So, pretty solid weapon for just player phase Desperation. We have the Marth Ring on Deadeye, so it's at 1-hit cooldown, and then with Pledge giving us special acceleration, we just ramp right into it on the second hit, whether or not the enemies have a guard effect or not. We've got Attack and Speed Finish 4 and Assassin Strike. Assassin Strike scales really good with Desperation and Brave attacks, because you're hitting twice in a row, and you're just getting the bonus damage based on the enemy's defense there. So, really helpful skill. Of course, it also does the start of turn chip damage, so that's good too. Then we've got Deathblow Echo and Blade Session for maximized deeps. So, this is probably the best DPS build, I would say, out of all the ones we're going to take a look at here. As far as alternate options go, you could go for Attack and Speed Insighted as well. That gives you a lot of stats too, if you want to go for that, if you prefer. But Pledge giving the acceleration, I think, combos nicely with Deadeye and being able to break through guard. Okay, over here, we're going for the AoE build. So, Verge of Death, basically Tier 5 Life and Death. It neutralizes Panic and also red debuffs to attack and speed at the start of the turn. So, Hortensia, be damned. Legendary Camilla, be damned. Legendary Robin. None of those guys are going to be able to debuff him. So, that's definitely very helpful. You don't want to take red stat drops when you're running AoEs, because these calculate off of your raw attack stat. So, that's good that Verge of Death does that. We're going to double up, of course, in the Sacred Seal as well, and Deathblow Echo, because why not? We're just going for Caveman Unga Bunga here. Speed and Defense Tempo will nullify the enemy's guard, and Attack and Speed Pledge will give us the acceleration. So you combine these two things, and also the Marth Ring and the -1 from Nastrond on Blazing Wind. Every time after the first time we activate Blazing Wind, we will always be able to have it ready for the next round of combat. So, as far as how you plan to get your Blazing Wind ready, that's going to be up to you. There's a lot of ways to do it. We just got the Bride Emblem, who gives -2 cooldown count to her support partner. So, that could be one option. And then Emblem is also turning off save skills, so this guy is free to avoid enemies that might have far save or something like that. There's also Valoria, of course, but she's a little bit aged at this point. Lots of units just give -1 cooldown. There's also Duo Asker with Lagu's friend who came back to life. He gets one from his C skill, then he gets another one from his Duo skill. So, all possible options. Just make sure you got your first Blazing Wind pre-charged and you're good. Or, if you want to be self-sufficient about it, you could just run Pulse-Up Blades on this guy, and then after 2 turns, he will self-charge his Blazing Wind all on his own. So, that could also be another option. Alright, and the final build we're going to be taking a look at is a enemy phaser kind of build. I don't really want to say enemy phaser, because let's be real here. What sort of nuke is this guy actually going to be able to tank? This one would be more so for, like, grinding Tempest Trial and forging bonds on auto start if you're just trying to clear the maps and you want an all-rounder that can player phase and enemy phase. This would be where you would run something like this. So, Lucrative Bow gives us Null Follow-Up and Null Panic. Also gives us a lot of bonuses to attack and speed based on how many active bonuses we already have. So it's giving us 2, and then we get another one from Insight, Attack, and Speed. This skill is also just giving us another status effect and a lot of stats all around based on how many movement spaces we move. The Insighted status effect is really good. Close Bonus Doubler gives us Close Counter and then reflects all of our blue bonuses back as additional bonuses. So really good there. And then we're doubling up with Bonus Doubler in the Seal as well to get all stats up 6, essentially. Guard Echo is being cut in half on the DR by Lagu's friend. But really, it's just there to inflict guard for the most part. The little extra Brave Attack DR you get from Guard Echo can come in handy, I guess, but probably not in most situations. We've got the Ike Ring on Deadeye so that we can get some non-pierceable DR against ranged threats. And then Lagoo's Friend, of course. This skill is so dumb, man. Like, what the hell were they thinking with this? You could just run it, even like a semi-glass cannon, I say in quotation marks. His defense is okay enough. It's not, like, terrible, 35, but Lagoo's Friend is going to give him non-pierceable DR based on his defense, gives him bonus damage based on his defense, and then it also nullifies enemies' DR. Then it also does -2 cooldown before he attacks, so we're very likely to get off our Deadeye on our attack. Actually, you don't even need Deadeye, honestly, because Lagoo's Friend is going to nullify their DR anyway. So it might be better to just use Draconic Aura, because that one will scale off of your raw attack stat, and then, or your in-combat attack stat, and then you get 30% based on that, as opposed to Deadeye doing triple damage, which might not even work out that well if the enemies have too much defense for you to break through. So Draconic Aura might be better. I don't know. It doesn't really make much of a difference. Deadeye, Draconic Aura, they're both going to do a lot of damage regardless. So yeah, there we go for all of the builds. You could also try some other stuff here too. If you wanted to, you could go for Attack Oath Echo and then go for Def Res Pledge. So you get 2 extra status effects for a lucrative bow, and then you're getting Defense, Res, and Attack up 6 by yourself without any ally support. So works pretty nicely with the bonus doubler skills, and if you don't want to go for Lagoo's Friend, you could also try, like, Null Sea Disrupt 4. I guess that could be an option. Prime 4 could also be an option, too, if you just want to stack more attack and speed, although Prime skills have become a little bit dubious now with all of the ways that we have to mess with units getting active bonuses, like the Mythic Loki and also Tina and things like that. So I would actually advise against Prime 4 at this point in favor of Close and Distant Bonus Doubler, but that's just me. So there we go, guys. That's going to cover us for all of our builds on the brand new Alcryst. Let me know your thoughts on this guy in the comment section down below. And this is your boy Tacho signing out. So take care, fellas, and I'll catch y'all again on the flip side.